Brett, what do you think? Is this glass half full or is it half empty?
To me, it's always half full. That's the way I like to look at life. I like to appreciate things. I like to be pretty positive. But I think a lot of teams in this league that we're watching now, this 2020 league, it's probably half empty because there are players who are struggling. There are players that haven't, I guess, scored the runs that would like to. They haven't taken the wickets. I think of guys like Glenn Maxwell, an absolute world-class superstar player, but hasn't scored the runs he would like to so far. Teams like Punjab on the bottom of the table, they are struggling. They haven't looked at this league and haven't played the way that they probably should have played. So for them, it's probably half empty.
Yeah, indeed. And the emptiness that Glenn Maxwell must have felt. And what about the people around him? Everybody went like, come on, check it once, because it's like a nice thing to do for a team that has just lost another game out of nowhere. But that's the thing, Brett. On this show, we do not revisit things just for the sake of it. On this particular show, it's all about the bigger picture. So what we do here is that we scrutinize the past week of the Indian T20 League. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ridhima Pathak and I welcome all of you to Sports Adda Presents Doubtful Review System. To fulfill this bigger picture and the bigger purpose in life, we've got the coolest, the fastest, Brett Lee in the house. Come on, Brett, give me some energy for this brand new show again. Namaste.
Nice to see you. How are you, Ridhima? Lovely to be here again, of course.
मैं बहुत अच्छी हूँ. Since you're doing
Namaste.
Oh.
Namaste.
All right, fantastic. Now, well, on this show, you do get a chance to get closer to Brett, but let me tell you that if you visit sportsadda.com and participate in the various contests, cricket-related contests that are going on, you also get a chance to win merchandise that have been personally signed by Brett. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can download the Sports Adda app. The link is right there in the description below. So yeah, download it. And with that, let's dive straight into the show. Brett, what is going on with the Indian T20 League? Because the youngsters seem to be like the flag bearers of the league. And then there is this umpire awkwardness that is going on. Sum it up for me.
Well, the last week's been exciting. There's been teams that have that should have won games that haven't. There have been players that have stepped up. And I think what we're finding through this league here now is that, we've seen that real young Indian counter-punch happening, which I think is very exciting. It's normally the overseas players that are stepping up. You think of the big name players, the big icon players. But I think this league now that's happening, it's actually the young guys putting up their hands saying, I actually want to be a part of this. I want to make a difference. And that's what we're seeing throughout this last week. So the young superstars that are going to be the next world-class players are stepping up to the plate.
Indeed. So with that, let's just straight away dive into the moments that have made it to the highlights of the week, which also brings me to the very first step of DRS, which is front foot play. All right, with that, let's start with the very first moment that we're going to discuss here. And there's a reason why I'm speaking so fast, because this is what this segment is all about. It's about speed and pace. It's the Pace Plaza in UAE. Because you see, with the rise of fast bowling in the Indian T20 League, I'm pretty sure Lee Tolstoy is forced to write another movie, which is War and Pace. Well, Brett, you've been there and you've bowled some beamers too, where, you've had Sachin, who has some mutual admiration for it, and then a Shane Warne who gets like a plaster on his arm. So take me through your experience of this pace and fast bowling.
Oh, look, fast bowling is very exciting. Firstly, you never want to see anyone bowl a beamer because it's part of the game where, as a fast bowler, you feel very embarrassed if that does happen. But to bowl fast, and I class over 150 k's per hour fast. 140 to 145 is quick, but I'd say over 150 is fast, and that is proper fast bowling. And we've seen some bowlers doing it now. We're looking at Nokia, Rabada, Archer, those guys that are hitting over or close to 150 k's per hour. It's really exciting. So I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, commentating. I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving watching that speed gun just go up towards that 155k barrier.
Yeah, which of the youngsters out there have impressed you the most in terms of pace and fast bowling?
Well, to me, it's Nokia. Enrique Nokia, who is a guy that's a South African, overseas pro, Look, he's 26 years of age, so he's still young in terms of being a bowler. I mean, he still hasn't even hit his maturity in terms of full body development. I mean, most fast bowlers will reach their peak around about 30 years of age. So I'm looking at him thinking the other night he bowled 156.2 k's per hour, which is super fast, really, really quick. That's on the threshold of getting close to that 160 barrier, which is like, you know, running like a 4-minute mile. It is so quick. And for a batsman, so just to explain, a batsman's got roughly about 0.3 or 0.4 of a second to see the ball, to work out what they want to do with the ball and try to either avoid it or play a shot. So it's tough for the batsman, great for the fast bowlers. So for me, Nokia is a guy that has really impressed me bowling.
Right, but as we get into the second half of the Indian T20 League, we're seeing the pitches are getting slower and there is uneven bounce. How much does that help the bowlers?
Well, I think it helps both bowlers if you look at it in two different ways. It'll definitely help the spinners, because when you talk about the pitches getting slower, which is correct, and you know, you're spot on by saying that, the pitches, and you know, for the boys and girls out there that are watching and thinking, why does the pitch get slower? What's the reason being? It's because the pitch is getting tired. It's been used and used and used. They're throwing more water on it. The hot sun, it's like a cake. So imagine like a tandoori oven. You know, you're trying to bake something and the water's just being sucked out of this pitch. So it tends to get more cracks. It gets a lot slower. So it will definitely spin more as the tournament goes on. But also too, for the paces, that can be good for variations. So, you know, rolling the finger over it, you know, leg cutter, off cutter. There's some really good sort of variations that can happen for the fast bowlers too.
Well, after the pace show, it's time we turn our heads towards the top order variations in Rajasthan's top order scan. Well, Brett, you see, Rajasthan is making the Pakistan team feel insecure with their ever-changing opening batsmen. Please throw some light over what is the sort of, the idea or the strategy behind something like that.
Yeah, look, I think it's more a mindset. I think they're trying to work out what is their best opening combination. And that's the hard thing too. In this league, you've got to find out pretty early. You know, I think it comes down to the first 4 or 5 games. You want to have, up to the 5th game, you want to make sure that your team is quite well settled. And what I mean by that is that it actually, you know your top order. You know your top 2 batsmen that go and open the batting. 3 and 4 are pretty much locked away. Then it's that middle order that can change a little bit depending on form. Your bowlers then bowl to death. But in terms of the top order, for me, what Rajasthan are doing probably wrong is that they've tried so many different combinations. I'm not convinced that Stokes is the right answer for that. And look, he's obviously a world-class player, but I think he's better off suited through that middle period so he can come out and dominate when the bowlers are more under pressure. You know, the field's back. They've sent off that new ball. So for me personally, Stokes is probably not the answer at the top of the order. And someone like Stephen Smith is struggling as well. And then what happens is you're playing catch-up cricket. So the scores that should be 165, 180, or there or thereabouts, become 130 or 140. And if someone like a Tawati doesn't kick or doesn't fire, then you're getting it bowled out for 140, which on these wickets is not enough.
Indeed, and the way Tewatia has been playing, everybody on Twitter goes like, "Bas karo yaar, kitna maroge." Having said that, what are the kind of adjustments would you say that Rajasthan should do in their batting order so that they start firing? Or would you say that in their head they should call this particular series Ashes so that Stokes, Butler, and more importantly Steve Smith fire?
I wouldn't go as far as calling it the Ashes, but you have to make sure that as a team that you're a great chance of winning this league. So for me personally, they need runs from the captain, Stephen Smith. We know that Stephen Smith has been struggling with runs, a bit like Maxwell. Quality play, he's got, I think, one or two 50s. Guys like Butler, Stokes, the big names have to also stand up. But I want to see them have Smith and Butler at the top of the order, a set combination with then 3, 4 and 5 that are pretty much locked in concrete. So once they're all set in stone, then that's going to give that middle order a much better chance to fire.
All right. So according to you, what would be Rajasthan's ideal top 4? If you give me specific names.
Well, I'll give you guys that can float. So I want Butler and Smith at the top of the order, and I think Stokes should bat high. I think Stokes should be in there, with plenty of overs to fire. Because what you don't want to do, and what we've seen, the other night with someone like an ABD coming in late and not even batting until about the 17th over. It's wasted. So on one hand, it's a conundrum, because on one hand you want a great top order that's set, and on the other hand you want guys that have got the ability to come in and change the game, match winners like Stokes, to come in and have 8 to 10 overs to bat. So top order, hit the top two, Smith and Butler, and then have Stokes come in at 3 or 4, when then he could fire and actually get that score from being a 140 up to a 180 or 200.
All right. I hope Rajasthan takes some tips from here. And with that, talking about keeping it afloat, everything in the Indian T20 League is afloat, because now comes the transfer window, which is our next moment. See, this is where we talk about the transfer orbit. As the transfer window opens, you see there is a certain superhuman being playing in the Indian T20 League, and he's called ABD. And you see the aliens want him back because they're playing a certain league on Pluto, which is called the Pluto Premier League. And Virat has denied any such claims. He is so not letting ABD go away. Having said that, the CEO of Chennai has also denied any sort of transfer plans. Even Imran Tahir took to Twitter saying that for now we'll just deal with fluids and electrolytes in the team. No exchange of players happening. But Brett, let's dive into this whole process of a mid-season transfer, and how does it really work in the Indian T20 League?
Well, essentially, it's a small period of time where you've got an option to trade players. You know, it's a bit like what happens in different leagues around the world, different sports. But essentially, it's a 5-day window where players who have played less than 2 matches or 2 games, whichever way you want to look at it, have got the option then to be picked up by other franchises. So what it's essentially doing is players that aren't being given the role or the chance to actually express their talent on the cricket field, if they believe that they didn't pick the right players or they can't fit into the different teams. And we've got guys like Majid that hasn't played a lot of cricket, Chris Lynn, those types of guys who are like world class, but because you're going to get 4 foreign players in, it's really hard sometimes to get them into the mix-up and to the actual makeup of the team. So they've got the option, if they've played less than 2 matches, to trade them off. But there are also teams that will go, no, we actually want them on the bench in case someone gets injured, because we know that's our whole strength. We pick our number 1 side, and then our number 2 side that can come in, which will be the number 1 side, is on the bench waiting just in case.
So which team do you think in the Indian T20 League can utilize this transfer window?
Look, I think any team in this league can actually utilise it, but it's just if they want to utilise it or not. I think that when they go to the auction, it's very important that they pick the right team. And yes, there's 11 players playing, but there's 4 or 5, 6 players on the sideline that are also helping out. And they're the guys day in, day out that are helping with the training, that are trying to prepare for their skills in case someone gets injured or someone through lack of form. Josh Hazlewood, to me, is a guy that can definitely step up and say, well, I want to play cricket. So in his eyes, he might think I'm better off at another franchise. But then the franchise might say, well, no, we need you in case we play on a wicket that's sporty, that someone got injured, or you're the best makeup for the team. So I think a lot of franchises hold their cards very close to their chest. They don't want to give too much away, and I understand that.
We shift to our next segment where we put Brett on the spot in our hotspot. So Brett, in this segment, I put you in the hotspot. I'm going to give you 3 situations. You're free to choose any one, and you have to tell me how would you react to that situation. All right?
Sure, let's go.
Super. Here are your options. Option number 1. Your car got hit by ABD 6, which was parked outside on the road in Sharjah. How concerned are you about the traffic which is outside, since ABD is playing inside? Your option number 2 is, you are Malolan Rangarajan, Bangalore's head of scouting and fielding coach, talking to the players after the halfway mark, and they have dropped 12 catches. What is the solution you would give them? Option number 3 is, you are the square leg umpire with Paul Rifle, and you saw him starting to call it a wide and then changed his decision. What would you ask him during the change of events? So these are your 3 options. Choose any one.
Tough ones. I'd probably have to go with option number 1, ABD, with a traffic hold-up, because what I would do is I'd walk out onto the street with ABD. I'd say, mate, my car's been hit, have a look at it. He'd probably sign the front bonnet of where it's been hit, would pull over, and then for hitting my car, I'd say, mate, you have to be a traffic cop for the next 5 minutes and make sure that traffic gets through nice and and everyone be waving. So you imagine it'd be about a half an hour pile up of traffic not getting through because they all want to see ABD. So it'd be quite funny actually.
You know what? This particular stint has just gotten viral, and there is a massive traffic jam outside Sharjah, all being waiting that ABD hits that 6. It's such a brilliant marketing campaign, I must tell you.
You know what I would be doing now? If I was and I'm not saying for kids to go near the highway, of course, because it's dangerous, but if they just stood outside in like a safe environment, there'd be cricket balls flying over there all the time. So maybe the parents can drive past and pick up a ball or two.
Indeed. Well, very well played out there, Brett. Very well played. I'm so parking my car outside so that I can also tell ABD, you see, Brett has asked me that, you would sign my bonnet as well as play cop for the next 5 minutes. I'm so doing this. Anyway, moving on to the death overs. And this is where we get our fans in. It's a head-to-head. This is the final segment of the show. So it's time we get our fans in to discuss the next segment. So shall we do that, Brett?
Let's do it. Let's go.
So we've got 2 fans here, and that is Nikhil, who's joined us, and he's a huge fan of Kolkata.
Hey Nikhil, how are you, mate? Nice to see you.
I'm good, Brett. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
And Brett, this is Kiran, who is supporting Hyderabad.
How are you,
Hi,
mate?
Brett. Nice to meet you. I'm doing good.
Absolutely cushy hoy.
So let me tell you, Brett, these gentlemen are only looking gentle for this particular time frame that you see them, because I'm just going to open the debate. And the debate of the hour is, let me make a statement, an unapologetic statement that I'm going to make, which is Hyderabad has been caught in the middle and Kolkata have looked clumsier than before. And because of which, the chances of these 2 teams making it to the playoffs is very, very bleak.
Ooh.
Hi, Brett. Let me put this debate to rest right away and ask you, how much do you miss being in Kolkata's dugout?
Well, look, it was a great team to play for. It was really good fun to play for Kolkata. I really enjoyed it. Great people, wonderful owners. Shah Rukh Khan's a legend. So, yeah, a lot of fun.
I'd just like to butt in over here, and it's natural to ask Brett how he felt when he played, because that was the last time Kolkata were any good, honestly. Now that you have your fans on cloud 9, that's okay. And by cloud, I mean every ball that Russell skies, and by 9, I mean your skipper's batting average except that 1 knock.
1 knock. तुम्हारा मिडिल ऑर्डर ये लाफिंग स्टॉक, क्या तुम्हारे हैं शॉक, कंसिस्टेंसी आउट ऑफ स्टॉक, और तू यहाँ पे आके रहा है भॉक. 1 knock.
हेलो मिडिल ऑर्डर. केन मामा मालूम तेरे को, मनीषा ना मालूम तेरे को, डेविड भाई होता, जॉनी भाई होता, उनके बाद वो दोनों आते, वो दोनों सब मिलके छक्का चुड़ा देंगे. हेलो, खबरदार बेटा.
विलियम सन, मतलब वो ना सच में सन है, ठीक है. और बॉलर बेस्ड हो तो जिस हिसाब से खेल रहे हैं ना मिडिल ऑर्डर की, तो तुम्हारी बैटिंग आनी नहीं. और मिडिल ऑर्डर क्या है, मतलब क्या मिडिल ऑर्डर, प्रियम गर्ग वगैरह कोई मिडिल ऑर्डर होते हैं? तुम लोगों को शर्म आनी चाहिए. राजस्थान से हार गए भाई. मतलब
excuse me, at least we know how to treat our middle order.
All right.
Boys. Just relax. Okay, you got 2 wonderful teams. Okay, Kolkata are brilliant. You got Hyderabad, which are also brilliant. I understand you got Kane Williamson, all that type of stuff, and you got Russell. You got guys that can dominate. But Nicola, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
What can someone like Kolkata do in order to change their fortunes? How can they get into the top 4? What can they do differently?
We are anyway heading to the top 4.
But how do you remain the top 4? How do you stay there? Because it could be like a greasy pole. It could slide down quickly.
No, we'll definitely finish in the top 4 because we have got plenty of match winners in our squad. Sunil Narayan, Andre Russell, he can any day make a comeback. Sunil Narayan, Andre Russell, Dinesh Karthik, Owen Morgan. Morgan is yet to fire. Morgan will definitely fire in one of the matches.
Okay. All right. And Kiran, you're 1 out of the top 4. You're 5th at the moment. How do you then knock Kolkata out of the top 4 and you make your way in?
We're just 2 points behind, Brett, and honestly speaking, they're going to be in the top 4 for as long as DK stays at the crease, so that's okay. It's going to be a short one. They're going to be down soon. We're going to be back up there and we're making playoffs easy peasy.
Easy इतना जितना easy तुम्हें लग रहा है, इतना easy कुछ होता नहीं है.
हाँ, तुम लोग की परफॉर्मेंस देख के तो पता चलता है वो.
इजीली तो तुम लोग हारोगे. अभी देखना अगले मैच में से, देखना तुम लोग इजीली तो तुम लोग नीचे जाओगे. मुझे तो लग रहा है पंजाब के नीचे ना चले जाओ हारते हैं.
पंजाब के नीचे कुछ नहीं है, तुम्हारा मैथ्स इतना वीक है इसलिए तुम लोग
पंजाब
ये स्टेट में हो।
ऊपर आएगी ना, गेल आ गया वापस, पंजाब अभी ऊपर आएगी ना।
I think
नीचे तो जाओगे तुम लोग।
maybe these two guys might be able to get traded in somehow into the franchise because they're pretty passionate.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of passion here. But you see, Kiran, it's high time Hyderabad also fixes some of the issues.
Yeah. Basically, I'd like to just say, let's not call out a lack of experience to be a lack of quality over here, because this is where talent meets opportunity, this league. And we have some wonderful youngsters coming through in Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma. And it's all about just, giving them the chance to perform. And Priyam Garg's already shown his class once before to recover from that particular run out he inflicted on Kane and to help us win the match after that. So I just think it's a matter of time. Honestly, we're coming into our own. We've got our players performing, and I'm pretty confident.
And Kieran, do you think that they're missing the Orange Army with no fans?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Hyderabad's a fortress. We all miss going to the stadium. We all miss cheering our team on. We're absolutely fond of. We're just so fond of David Warner. I actually believe he's more popular in Hyderabad than he is in Australia or anywhere else in the world. I'm sorry for that. But David Bhai is one of our own, and we've already claimed him. Him and Rashid are already Hyderabadis, well and truly.
And Nico, we've obviously seen Shahrukh Khan in the stands. He's obviously been there as an owner. He's a superstar. His presence must help
he is
their
definitely
franchise,
a superstar.
their team.
And Kiran, I know about Kiran. Kiran को तो हमेशा से शाहरुख खान से और मेरी टीम दोनों से डर लगता है. क्यों किरण? नहीं?
Very good. That's a good movie.
It'd be funny if I didn't hear it for the last 25 years of my life. Well done on making that joke. It's 2020, but we're still stuck in 92.
Oh, okay. All right, gentlemen, I think you made your point here. Brett, I think it's a tight call, but would you want to tell us what is your call on this?
3 Reds.
3 Reds.
Actually, hang on. How do you want me to end this, guys?
It's a clear Hyderabad win, Brett. I know you've got your bias for Kolkata, but you got to appreciate quality when you see it. Come on, you're Australian. You know quality when you see it.
तुम्हारी टीम का नाम हैदराबाद नहीं, बर्बाद होना चाहिए. मैं बता रहा हूँ अभी, और उस हिसाब से ही तुम्हारी बर्बादी होगी अभी इंडियन T20 लीग में. देखना.
I'm sorry, I can't take anyone seriously if they put aloo in their biryani. Thank you. End of conversation.
उधर हैदराबादी बिरयानी तो राजस्थान के प्लेयर्स.
I'm sorry.
तुम लोग राजस्थान से आ गए. राहुल तेवतिया एंड रियान पराग. सीरियसली.
I can't take you seriously, man.
मेरी टीम हार जाती, मैं मैच देखना ही छोड़ देता अगले दिन.
They're kicking off. I think it has to be. It's got to be a tie.
A tie.
Maybe a super over.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going to give you guys another 10 seconds to defend your team, because I can't be taking this again. This is becoming like a habit.
Well, let me just put it this way. We do not have an opener who we send at number 8. We do not have a skipper whose batting average is lower than his age. World's best all-rounders, Trey Russ himself, misfiring every game after game. So I think it's just a matter of time with Hyderabad, whereas with Kolkata, it's also a matter of time, but not when they come good. It's about when they're going to slide down the bottom of the table. Just 2 points in counting. We're coming there.
It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. तुम लोग इधर से बाहर ही हो जाओगे अभी. और उसके बाद there is no comeback.
All right, gentlemen, you've spoken. Brett, final call.
Well, I think, Ridhima, you have to take a referral on your statement, because I do believe, gentlemen, that both of these teams are going to go through to the top 4 and stay there.
What?
Yeah.
I think this is becoming like a habit now. We did that in the first show, again in the second show. Fine, the fans win it, but this is the last time, and I take my words back. Both Hyderabad and, of course, Kolkata have a chance. Fine.
Stats don't lie, Ridhima. Stats don't lie.
Fine. All right. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for being a part of DRS. You guys totally got in the spice and the energy and the passion, and keep it up. Thanks again for joining in. And
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you so much, Brett.
Thank you, guys. And make sure, please, you're buying each other a Christmas card this year, okay? Be nice. Arm say.
Yes.
Go Orange Army.
All right, boys. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you so much, Brett. Thanks a lot for the energy that you bring to the show.
Pleasure. I love it. It's always a lot of fun, and it's great to see the fans.
It is indeed. I love their passion, and I love your passion as well. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I hope you love the fun, laughter, banter. And for more of it, do join us next week. And let me remind you, that you stand a chance of daily winnings up to rupees 10,000 fantasy gaming on sportsadda.com. Also, you can participate in a lot of cricket-related contests that have been going on because you stand a chance to win big. Until next time, it's me, Ridhima Pathak, signing off.